Hey everyone, it's me, JE, and we are in week 17. And our verse this week comes from Titus 1:8. Rather, he must be hospitable, one who loves what is good, who is self controlled, upright, holy, and disciplined. Titus 1:8. Live with self control. Ooh, self control. First off, I'm going to say I hope everyone had a great Easter. And so I know my last video I might have said that because it was actually Easter when I filmed it. But anyway, I hope everyone had a great Easter before we get into self control. So, the biggest thing that I have noticed a lot of times um, where self control kind of like goes crazy for a lot of us is when it comes to social media. Having the self control of knowing when to just keep your mouth quiet, just and I like watch things sometimes, and like people will someone will post a picture or someone will post something, and then someone will see it and they don't agree with the picture or something, and people will make little comments, and or they'll say whatever it is that comes to their mind that's negative. And for me, whenever I see something and I'm just like, oh, or if I don't agree with or whatever, I just try to just keep on strolling because I that's what I can do. I can just keep on strolling. But I was watching a video the other day of this little girl, and she was doing something, and the fact that people had the nerve to say negative comments because they don't have the self control to realize that, like, you don't attack a baby, like you don't attack a child. And it was just the cutest little kid, and it was just like, what happened to having self control and knowing that you wouldn't say that, like what you shouldn't say that. And I sometimes think, would you say that if the child was right in front of you? Or would you have better self control? Or is it because it's a computer that you lost self control? We shouldn't lose self control just because we're behind a computer screen, a computer screen. We should always be able to keep that self control. And sometimes I've noticed with me when things like really build up on me, my self control of things that I say or things that I do is lost. And so that's something I really want to work on. I am a stuffer, and because I am a stuffer, I do. People say things and people do things, and I just take the little things and I stuff them down into my little joy hole. And then one day they do one more thing, and I let all of that self control just explode all over the place in a confetti of mess. And it's not a good thing. It's not. It's something I have been working on. It's something I'm very well aware of. But trying to keep that self control in that moment, and then later letting it go so that it doesn't build up to a point of where I lose self control and it becomes a huge issue. So this is one I want to add, I want to work on, because self control is important at every aspect of our life, whether it be our day to day relationships with people that we know, people that we don't know. You see all these stories of people getting mad at people and attacking them, and it's just like, what happened to self control? What happened to controlling yourself and walking away? And even when it comes to relationships and doing things that you shouldn't do, what happened to your self control and not doing things that you shouldn't do? It's one of those things we have thrown over by the wayside and I just lost it. Well, we have to quit using that as an excuse. I just lost it. And because, sometimes we do lose it, and it does happen. But we need to remember our self control and trying to rein those things in and deal with things in a healthy manner and in a fashionable time. At least for me, it's in a fashionable time because I stuff everything. So sometimes when I stuff, I don't deal with it in the time that it needs to be dealt with, where the self-control is very manageable because it hasn't gotten to the point where it explodes. So all of these things without anger and all these things, they like all go together to the point of us getting to having that self-control that we need to have with the people that we are around and with the people that we know and the people that we don't know, and knowing when to just walk away, because sometimes we don't need to get the last word in. Sometimes we don't have to be the person who has the quickest comeback. Sometimes keeping that self-control intact means that we just go whatever and keep it moving. Because the thing is, we don't have to have that. It does not make you the bigger, badder person if you say the last word or if you get the last thing in. Sometimes the bigger, badder person is the person who kept that self-control and got themselves out of that situation. So this is what we're going to add. We are going to live with self-control. So I hope that you all are having a great weekend as we add these on with our compassion and our kindness and our strength, without anger, without complaining, and now with self-control. So until next Monday, live with self-control.